Welcome back to the channel, everybody. How you doing? I just want to say I appreciate you guys being here. Today, we are going to talk about Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. This is my first signed copy of a book. Isn't that cool? Isn't that just really friggin' cool? Oh, it was awesome. Did I meet her? No, I bought this at the store and it was signed, so I'm like, let's go. So, we read this book. I actually thought I was going to read this book the day it came out, which I did. I started it, but I'm a week late for review, I guess. I don't know. But I'm going to talk about spoilers. Maybe. But spoiler warning now, just in case I do spoil anything, because sometimes I just friggin' talk, dude, and I just don't know what I'm saying. We'll put this one here. Right there. Because it's beautiful. And it's big. And it's a beautiful life. It's great also. Can't forget that. So this book, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I've lately been on the Emily Henry hype train. Like, it is chewing down that railroad, right? And I was pretty excited for this book. I really moved it up there on my TBR, because usually with Emily Henry books, I wasn't going to read a ton of them. I was going to read Book Lovers this month as well. But this came out and I was like, all right, well, screw Book Lovers. That's for the summer. But this book, the weakest part about this book is the instant love. Oh my gosh. The romance in this is not very good, and it's really hard to believe because it is instant love. But it didn't feel like how Emily Henry usually writes romances. And it's clear that that's not the main focus. But again, most of her books, that's usually a subplot anyways, is a romance, I personally think. And then the main plot is something where you really sit there and think and you can relate to. This didn't feel like that too much, because then you have her talking to Margaret, and there's like parts where she is talking to Margaret and it's called The Story, where Margaret's like talking about her life and you actually see through her POV. It's only like 4 or 5 pages each, and that's what's going on. And then it goes right back to Alice and Margaret like talking in like an interview style about things going on in her past. At first I was kind of into it, and then when you meet Hayden, he is like a very mysterious dude, but I felt like for one with Hayden, I just felt like he was just pouring everything onto everything to Alice, even though he barely knows her. And the same thing with Alice. There was times where Alice is like buying him muffins and like a coffee, even though they met one day for like a couple minutes, and she would just leave in front of his door, and it just felt very weird. Like, I don't know, I just didn't feel like, yeah, this is very believable. And it's definitely instant love kind of stuff. And it's funny that she even mentions that in the book, that I think it was Hayden. I was like, oh, I fall in love with you so quickly. And she's like, me too. It's like instant love. And I was like, all right, well, now she knows. And I think the whole point of this book is clearly it's not about the romance. And I think the romance, I mean, it's clear that the romance was definitely a subplot for this book, which is perfectly fine. But to me, it's just, I felt like the main plot, there was moments where I was like, all right, kind of cool. The ending, clearly the ending was the biggest shocker. But I don't know. I think Emily Henry just was like, we're going to take a shot of writing something a little more out of there instead of like her kind of normal style. But the thing is, why I like Emily Henry so much is because when she writes, the main plot of these books usually are just so relatable, and this just wasn't really. And I thought, because it's called Great Big Beautiful Life, that the backstory, the flashbacks with Margaret, was going to relate with Alice, but it kind of didn't. And that's where I was like, oh, okay, that's where it's going. Alice is gonna fall in love with Hayden, maybe something might happen, kind of like what happened to Margaret, but it didn't. And you kind of figure out other things about this, which I'm not gonna spoil. I did say spoilers, but there's just some elements I don't want to spoil, because if you're watching this video and then you're like, wow, you just spoiled like the ending, thanks. I don't want to do that, because clearly I want people to read Emily Henry. I'm a big advocate fan of her books. But yeah, this one I was just not the biggest fan of. Does that mean I think the book is awful? No, not even close. But there's just elements of it where I'm like, oh man. And like I said, romance to me, when Emily Henry writes romance, I'm not like, wow, her romance is amazing. It's such a subplot part, but the main plot of her stories are so organic and relatable that when you read them, the subplot of that romance is just flows right in there so well that you don't really think too much about the romance, just because the way that she writes. In this book, I think both of them were just not that good, and it kind of made me sad. And there's parts of it where I did watch some people talk about this and they're like, oh, well, they're in their 30s, so that's why instant love's okay. And I'm like, I guess, but you are defending it. It's like you making it sound like they're gonna die or something quickly, so they have to fall in love. It just, I don't know, I did not like it. And there's other parts of it with like her mom, it just felt like it was really rushed, because she mentions things about her relationship with her mom, and then right at the end it's just solved immediately, and I don't know, it rubbed me the wrong way with this book. And I'm pretty sure this is her longest book too. But like I said, I think she wanted to take a stab in the dark at something else, and I think it was fine. I think the way that she was doing it was perfectly fine. It was just everything else just didn't feel like it melded together. It didn't feel very organic like her other books were, which kind of upset me a little bit. Like I said, like you guys saw if you guys watched my Happy Place review, you could see how much I really loved Happy Place. So, but when I read this one, I was a little more disappointed, and I think it's because I was on such a high note, where doesn't mean all my favorite authors, doesn't mean all their books are gonna be bangers. I will always talk about which ones were like, oh, that was all right, versus the ones I'm like, wow, this one's amazing. And this one, I think, is still really good. I think if this is their first time reading Emily Henry, I think this is perfectly fine. I think all of her books are fine. I haven't read the ones before she started doing like romance. I haven't read those ones yet. Maybe I will in the future. Who knows? But yeah, with Great Big Beautiful Life, if I had to give it a rating, I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5 for a rating. And like I said, doesn't mean it's a bad book. I feel like people think ratings are just makes these books awful. If your book is not higher than a freaking 4, the book is bad. It just blows my mind. But this book was a 4. I think it was fun. I enjoyed it. There was elements where I'm like, wow, this is really good. And I did like parts of the mystery that she like little bread trails in it that were kind of fun. There's just a lot that I liked about it, but there's a lot that I just didn't like about it. And that's why I could not give it a 5. Clearly, I like doing this, so I will never ever lie to anyone that watch my videos for book reviews if I like these books or not. I will always be 100% honest, and that's why I give this book a 4 out of 5. And that's the thing when I do my ranking video, probably June or early July, when I do my ranking video for all the Emily Henry books I read. We'll see where I rank this, and maybe my opinion, we'll see what happens. Maybe it'll wear on me a little more, and maybe I'll give it a lower rating or a higher rating. Who knows? If you guys made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate it. What do you guys think about Great Big Beautiful Life? Have you read the book yet, or have you not read the book yet? Have I stirred you away from the book, or have I not? I would love to know down below. And if you guys have read any of Emily Henry's other books, let me know down below, and which ones are your favorites and which ones are your least favorites. I would love to know down below, of course. Last but not least, make sure you guys stay safe, stay humble, and tell someone you love them. I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay weird.